And welcome to the Lowell Planning Board for Monday, November 16th, 2015. We have two matters under business and one under pre-application. The first matter has been continued. It's for a rezoning petition at 21 West Adams Street. The Planning Board will hold a public hearing to hear all interested persons relative to a proposed zoning amendment to extend the existing traditional multifamily zoning district to include the area of 21 West Adams Street. The area is presently zoned light industrial and is located in between Wilder Street and Walker Street. We did receive a letter sent by email that was addressed to myself as well as the board members, and it, as requested by Attorney George Theodoro, that he is representing Kazanjian Enterprises, and they're hereby requesting that their application for the rezoning be withdrawn. It goes on to propose letters to inform the planning board that the petitioner hereby withdraws the petition. After long and careful study of the proposed zoning extension, our client has been unable to work out an economically feasible development under the current zoning law, and therefore submits this withdrawal of the petition. Do any board members have any comments on the withdrawal, or want to accept the withdrawal as requested?
Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the withdrawal as requested by the applicant.
Okay, so we have a motion to withdraw.
Second that, Mr. Chairman.
Motion is made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes yes, so that matter has been withdrawn. So anybody who's here for West Adams zoning, that matter will be withdrawn. Thank you. Okay, the next matter is a public hearing for a special permit request at 14 London Street. The Lowell Planning Board and Zoning Board will hold a public hearing to hear all interested persons relative to an application by TK Development, LLC, seeking special permit and variance approval at the above address. The proposal is to construct a new single-family without meeting lot area, frontage, front yard setback, and lot area per dwelling unit requirements. The proposed project is located in traditional two-family zoning district and requires special permit approval under section 5.1.10 from the Planning Board and variance approvals from the Zoning Board of Appeal under section 5.1 of the Lowell zoning ordinance. May we hear from the applicant, please?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, for the record, James Flood, 540, is this on? Is that working? 549 Rogers Street, Lowell, representing the petitions. Before I start, Mr. Chairman, can I just pass these out?
I appreciate your applicant having us sign up on the project. It makes this easier when we do the site visit. And I will say that for the record.
I'm here tonight representing TK Development LLC, which is an LLC comprised of Greg Krikoris and John Sumas, who are with me tonight. They're a couple of friends that grew up in the acre and now have gotten into the land development and ownership of business. So we're here tonight for special permit to allow the construction of a single-family residential dwelling on a vacant lot that does not have the required lot width. The lot is located on Blossom Street in the zone TTF. I want to point out that although the city assesses the vacant parcel as part of London Street, it is in fact a separate lot as established by the land court as part of registered land recorded back in 1911. And I've given you people a copy of that lot as it was originally established and as it's stayed the same since. So it was established in the land court, and I think a lot of you people realize that since it is registered land, it can't be included with the other land unless someone went back in the land court and brought a new plan in to incorporate the whole thing. They'd have to go through the whole engineering. So it is a separate lot, and it's noted separately on the deed to the property. And that's why I submitted those land court plans, just so you'll see it. According to the land court plan and the plan prepared by our host survey, the lot is 50 feet wide. It's been that way since 1950, since 1911, it's never changed. And under 5.1.10, we cannot meet that requirement because 80% of the required frontage would be 56 feet. We don't have it. We've only got 50 feet, so. And I don't think, and as I said to this board before, I don't think that was the intent of the city in passing this ordinance to do anything to a lot of this size that's been around for many years and make it unbuildable. So we're just asking for that special permit to go forward. I've submitted, we did receive the comments from staff. We've done a new plan. We've taken out the garage. We've put a bay window on the front. We've tried to have the windows in the garage and in the front of the building match. There's a landscape plan in the back, which we will, if we receive the special permit tonight, we'll go to Jim Aho and have the plan done over and for submission to the Board of Appeals. But like I said, the lot is similar to others in the area. Most of them are of the same size, the same shape. So I would ask that you people grant this special permit to allow us to proceed further to the Board of Appeals and let them make the decision on the variances. But there's no way we could meet this requirement because of that the lot's been in existence for that period of time. So we're here to answer any questions that this board might have.
So the only, excuse me, the only relief you're requesting from us is the special
Special
permit?
permit for lot width, because we can't meet it.
Yeah,
And that's, you remember that came about
Yep,
as
I
to
recall.
the development
Yep.
on Andover Street, so.
okay. And I do, as you pass out the handouts, I want to mention for record, I do appreciate having the applicant having the site plan application up on the site. It makes it a lot easier when we're doing the site visit to make sure we're in the same location, and it is a requirement, but that doesn't mean it always gets there, but I do like seeing it on site. Thank you. I mean, this wasn't hard to find, but other houses, sometimes you're like, where is it? So,
I think it's the only vacant lot on the street. So.
so. Does anybody else want to speak on behalf of the applicant? No?
We're
Okay,
here to answer any questions you might have.
okay, thank you. Does anybody here from the public want to speak in regards to the London Street project? Anybody? Sure, come to the microphone, give your name and address if you would, please.
Yep, my name is Stacy Policio. I live at 17 Blossom Street, which abuts that particular lot.
Okay. Okay, anything you'd like to say?
I'm just really interested in the scope of the project and how that's going to impact my property, the value of how big I can see that the floor plan for the dwelling, but what's the height, what's the landscaping plan, how is this going to impact the neighborhood? Is it going to be consistent with the other dwellings in the neighborhood? And, how is it going to impact access to my property? Like, is there going to be a privacy fence that borders my driveway? I haven't been given
Where were
any of
you?
the-
Are you to the, if you're looking at the house on Blossom Street, were you right or left?
I am on, if you're standing on the street,
Looking right at Blossom.
looking at the lot, I'm to the left.
You're the house to the left?
Correct. That's number 17.
Okay, yeah, I know what you mean, okay.
So it's on the west side, I guess.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's actually the other half of my lot. That lot was divided at one point and made into a separate lot.
Oh, okay, so that
So,
lot,
yeah, it's the other half.
Would that be the brown house? Is that?
Yeah, it's like coffee ice cream colored,
Yep,
yeah.
right here. Okay, that's-
Yes, I recall which one it is, yeah, okay.
So I saw the plot plan that they had laid out, but it didn't, there's no specifics as to the height. I think in that area you can go 2.5 stories.
Attorney Flood, do you know, what the height will be on this? Okay,
I guess I'm just curious because I'd like access to, an idea of what that's going to look like, and is that information that is accessible to those of us who are abutters?
I'm sorry, what was the first part of that? You want to know?
That, like, the packet that you have there
Oh,
that they've
sure.
provided for you, is that information that's
Yeah,
accessible?
come on up, come on up.
to abut.
Oh, all right, sure. I mean, I can look at someone else's if you can give
No,
it.
no, I was just,
It's quite all right, ma'am.
curious if
We
that's
have-
something that can be provided to us.
Mr. Flatt, I can give you mine, because I can look at Jerry's, it's not a problem.
Fantastic, thank you. So, yeah, I kind of just wanted to like
Sure,
be
no
able
problem,
to
yeah.
review this. I
That's
came
what they-
because I was really interested in,
I don't blame
in,
that. That's what they meet meetings for, to find out what's going on in everybody's
Yeah,
neighborhood. and-
exactly.
Yep, so any questions, feel free to look that over, and if you need a couple of minutes, we can-
absolutely, yeah, that would be great, thank
That's no
you.
problem at all, okay? And we'll give you plenty of time to look that over. Does anybody else want to be heard in the interim? Okay, yes, just come to the microphone, ma'am, and give us your name and address.
Hello, my name is Patricia Howcroft. My husband and I own 7 and 9 Blossom Street, which is on the opposite side of the lot.
Okay, so it's on the, to the right of the lot?
It's
Okay,
on the right
yep.
of the lot, yep. My concern is, again, property values, and based on the plan, it looks like the proposed structure is 10 feet from our property line,
Yeah, it would be 10.5, yep,
right, which is about another 1.5 feet to our windows.
yeah. That's the city requirement, so we can't make them change that one. They need a minimum of 10 per side, so they have 10 on one side and a total of 25, so they do have the 10 and the 15.
Yeah, that makes for a nice knowing your neighbor situation. And how far the structure is back from the street?
It's gonna be, I think it's 21 feet.
21 feet?
That's what it looks like on my plan.
Yeah, that's what it is.
21
Okay.
feet, that would be back from the road, right?
And my concern also was, a fence, if there's going to be one constructed. Right now, there is a fence there, and I think it was the previous owner that put it up.
That the fence in the very back of the lot?
There's the one on the back of the lot,
It
but
has a
there's
sign on it?
also-
Yep,
Yeah, there was also on each side, there's a fence that was put up
yeah.
a couple of inches from our existing fence.
Oh, okay.
And it's the wrong direction,
So was it so it was the
yeah,
previous people's fence? I couldn't tell whose fence it was when I saw it, so.
yeah, the wooden fence is there, we have a chain link that
Oh,
was
yep,
existing when we bought the property.
Okay.
So the fence was put up a couple inches from our fence, and it's with the unfinished side toward our property rather than the finished side.
Yeah.
And it creates an issue for us because that 2 inches of space or 3 inches of space is definitely a place where vegetation grows. And their fence is so high that they don't see it, but we have to deal with it. We have to take care of the weeds and all that stuff. And there is a huge tree there also that we were told was part of that property. I'm not sure if that's true, but it's right along that fence line.
Oh, okay.
So that's a question, how that would be handled. We're just concerned about the space and the proximity to our property, any effect that it would have on our property values. It's already, a tight neighborhood as it is.
Yeah.
And that's basically our concerns.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sure.
There is an existing fence, and I think it's shown on the plan, the
Yeah.
landscape plan. But it's their intention to extend that all the way down, so there would be some privacy, so. If that was a concern of the neighbors, that they wanted a fence all the way down. Yeah, that's not a problem.
Okay.
That could be worked out. I mean, that was the comment I got, so.
Yeah, I mean,
We did discuss that earlier, and they said, yes, if they wanted it down, they would extend it down. But I think the house that's designed is very similar to what's in that neighborhood, and the lot sizes are the same, so.
do you have a scheduled date for the zoning board of appeals yet?
Next Monday.
Okay. Does anybody else want to speak in regards to this project? Anybody else want to speak? Anybody else want to speak? So what's in front of us tonight is, we only act on the frontage in front of the house. The rest of the variances that they're looking for, I have to go for the zoning board of appeals. That's why I asked that question, if anything else was in front of us. So the only question we have is, does the frontage in the front of the house, whether it's consistent or not, with the same frontage as all the other houses in the neighborhood? So at this time, I'll turn it over to, any of the board members have any questions or comments or questions? Mr. Lockhart, can I start with you? Do you mind?
I don't really have anything currently, no.
Okay.
I understand it right.
Okay. Dick, any questions or comments?
Joe, does the new design fit better with the staff recommendations?
I'm just getting to look at them now, but generally speaking, it looks like it's a step in the right direction with staff comments. It's hard to kind of say just looking
Sure.
at them now, but looks like it's a step in that direction, sure.
Based on what I'm seeing and, having seen the neighborhood and everything, I would just suggest that the developer continue to work with staff to iron out any of the details that would make it more in keeping with the neighborhood, but otherwise, I think it would probably fit in with the neighborhood.
That's not a problem, and I think, I've driven down the neighborhood, and I really think this house does conform with a lot of the surrounding properties, so. But we have no problem working with
I
staff.
don't disagree with that, I just, continue to work with staff, iron out any of the concerns, and I don't think it's any problem in being inconsistent with the rest of the neighborhood.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Fischett?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, and at first, when I looked at the plan and you looked at required and provided, and it kind of takes you back a little bit, but then when you really, and I think, Mr. Flood, you did a good job with the narrative that you provided, and also providing the surrounding area, because I've attacked this from the other end, when you're trying to show something doesn't fit the neighborhood. And I think, really, when you look at, I've got the photograph, I think all of the homes on the other side of the street, they have 33-foot frontage.
Much less.
And some of them have 50-foot frontage. And quite frankly, and even on this side of the street, they're 50 feet, 40 feet, 30 feet. I think the abutter that spoke has 35 feet. And quite frankly, the lot stands out as being odd because it's not developed at the moment.
And I'll tell you, I mean, they're your neighbors, but the house they have on London Street, they keep in very good condition.
Yeah, no, it looks
And
nice, I
they'll do
noticed
a
that.
nice job, and they'll work with the neighbors.
Yeah, no, I did
mean,
notice
I
that.
wish we had known ahead of time that you had some concerns, because we thought this would be good for the neighborhood, but they'll be glad to meet with you and discuss it. Excuse me? So maybe they can speak outside.
Sure,
you know?
sure, yeah. And then I saw the allowable height is 32 feet in the zone. You're looking at 27 feet, I think, on the plan.
I
2.5, yeah, so I'm
It's
just
less,
looking, yeah.
yeah.
So, I mean, I think that, I think overall, from the neighborhood character, I don't think this home would be out of character with the street. And like I said, it actually looks a little odd when you look down the street, and then there's that big empty lot at the moment. So, from my perspective, I think, based on that, and based on the surrounding lots, this is not unusual for that neighborhood. It really, it actually fits the character of the
I
neighborhood.
think a lot of the lots are closer to 3,500 square feet.
Yeah, yeah, well, I actually,
Smaller.
I had, there's 17 lots on Blossom that are under 5,000 square feet. There's several that are 2,200, 3,100. So, again, and you've got a 4,500 square foot lot, and I think the frontage actually fits the other homes there. So from that perspective, I'm comfortable with what's being presented. And clearly, the details would be worked out with the zoning board of appeals, how the final look would be on this particular property. And especially, I don't think it's a stretch. It really fits, the development of this lot fits into the street. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Boyle?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to agree with Jerry about what he said about this lot being empty, being inconsistent with the rest of the neighborhood. Your street is like a pretty girl, and she smiles, and she's missing a tooth.
What?
The street is like a pretty girl, and she smiles, and she's missing a tooth. I think, I
Might
like.
go straight in.
I like projects like this. This is, as far as I'm concerned, a restoration of neighborhood character. You know, missing that house is detrimental to neighborhood character, and building a house on a lot that's perfectly consistent with the rest of the neighborhood at the same size as what's consistent with the rest of the neighborhood. And you've made some clear efforts to design the house so that its style would be consistent and reflect what is best about the rest of the neighborhood. And so I like the general concept here. I do have one qualm, however, and that's with the decision to set the house back 21 feet so that you can put 2 parking spaces next to each other in front of the house, between the house and the street. That is inconsistent with neighborhood character. There isn't, going up and down the street, there is a remarkable consistency in the setbacks behind the sidewalk to the front doors and the front steps all along that street, on both sides of the street. There is one house down the other way on the street, which is set back approximately this much. It's like a ranch house, and it sits on a double lot, and it really sticks out like a sore thumb. I like this project and hope to vote for this project because of its consistency with the neighborhood character, but it has this one problem, which is very inconsistent with the neighborhood character. There are no other houses that I could see that had parking in between the house and the street in this neighborhood.
Most of them are stacked parking up and down the street. I think there's only 2, I think we counted 2 garages 2 or 3 in the street at the most. Most of the parking is stacked.
Yep, and I think that works. I think this would be a better project if, instead of the house being set back 21 feet and the 2 parking spaces being next to each other, and having that sort of almost double width curb cut as well, taking away 15 feet of potential parking on the street instead of just 9 or 10 feet. Would it be possible to have a driveway that goes up the side, goes up that wide 15 and a half foot side, 1 parking space wide, with 2 spaces stacked one behind each other like the rest of the street? Another advantage to that, that's what I have at my house, is that in a pinch, you could put the cars a little tighter, and now it becomes 3 off-street parking spaces, further protecting the neighborhood from potential more on-street parking.
That could be done, but I'd like to speak to the neighbors as to what they would prefer. And then, depending on if we did that, where that fence would be, where the privacy fence would be on. But I see, if we did it on her side, where I think the 15 feet is, she doesn't want a fence. But I think we'd be glad to talk to you about that. I mean, I think that can be done.
Okay. I, too, would be interested to hear what the neighborhood thinks about this. You have a copy of this plan that he's brought in tonight. On the last page, it shows the 2 spaces next to each other. Now, if you can look at that and eyeball that and talk among yourselves, does that, the idea of going up that left side with a driveway, is that better by your lights? Would that be more of a problem by your lights?
Can you just come to the microphone so we can hear your response? Thanks. We're on TV and people can't hear you. Thank you, ma'am.
I mean, I actually haven't had a chance to spend a lot of time reviewing it. Like, I'd like to actually see it in person and kind of think about how that would impact, my driveway is 6 inches off my property line. So it would be super close if they did do a driveway on that side. And I know that this is sort of an odd thing, but snow removal becomes a major problem in our neighborhood. There's actually no place to put snow.
That's another thing.
So it's something that we think about. There's not a lot of off-street parking. There's a lot of people who park on-street, and then when we have a snow emergency and they say, you can't park on-street, it ends up being a major issue. I mean, I know for me last year, that's where my snow went, would be their yard. So it would be something I would have to work out with my neighbor. We'd have to come to a mutual agreement. As far as the 2 parking spots in the front, that isn't consistent. It would be like on-street parking, or it is a very narrow, most houses have a very narrow driveway, or they have on-street parking only. There are a handful of garages, but they are all like a tandem parking situation to a garage, so it's a very narrow driveway.
Okay, good. That's very helpful.
Thanks.
Yeah, the snow issue as well. Another advantage to what I'm talking about is that a driveway like that, they could plow and just push all the way along and into the backyard, whereas the way the parking spaces are now, where's that snow going to end up? Obviously, there is the front yard there, but it's right at the back of the sidewalk. Is there going to be trouble? I think it might be a better design. I don't know. Does the rest of the board think there's merit to what I'm saying? Because that was my only comment. I think if you change the parking and pull the building up, it's even more consistent with the neighborhood.
Can I just say this? It's, unfortunately, we didn't have a chance to really speak with them until tonight. So I understand what you're saying, and this lady hadn't had a chance to see it, and I don't want to put her on the spot, so.
Yes.
But I would suggest if this board approves this tonight, then I would continue the Board of Appeals hearing, which is scheduled for next Monday, for another 2 weeks, so we have an opportunity to sit down with them, come up with a plan to bring into the Board of Appeals that the neighborhood is happy with.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I like that, because I think Joe has some good points, but I think listening to the abutter too, I think one of the concerns was kind of opposite what Joe was saying, is that with this being a grassy area, they'll have a place to put the snow rather than putting it in their driveway. Or, you mentioned plowing it, but that could be somebody with a snow blower putting it into their driveway.
Yeah.
But I understand what you're saying. I just think that perhaps if everybody can come to a mutual agreement.
There's no problem doing that, and I've spoken with my clients, and they're willing to do that. And I know what Joe was saying. I mean, most of the homes are pretty
Right,
much on the
absolutely.
street, on that whole road. But
And I'll be
because
honest
of-
with you, I think visually, it looks better when the cars are parked, not all in front of the house, but.
On the side.
You're right, exactly. It's a low profile of autos. You've got the one and you've got the other one in the back.
We'll be more than willing to sit down and discuss it with them, and
Right.
hopefully have Jim Aho prepare a new plan.
Sure.
Based on what those discussions are.
And if I may, if I can just throw out one more idea for you to consider, much in the same way I did on Andrews Street with the alley going along in the back. I noticed that this is the same property owner who owns what fronts on London Street and what fronts on Blossom Street here. Another possibility might be a common drive off of Blossom Street, off of the other side where the current two-family is, that comes up,
I think
it comes
there's
into
a
the
height-
back of this new house.
There's a height difference there, though, isn't there?
Is there a height
big
difference? You wouldn't be able to do
yeah.
that?
There's a
Okay.
big height difference on that, yeah.
Okay, it just struck me as something that might be a possibility. Then we're only talking about one curb cut instead of two curb cuts for these two buildings. We're talking about you can have your
Yeah.
garage under if you're coming at it from the back.
Well, we want to make them happy. They've lived there, they've probably lived there for many years, so we want to work with them.
So a couple of ideas there. I'd like to see what you can come up with.
Yeah.
Mr. Belovitch?
Well, the wonder of speaking last is everybody steals your thunder. I have similar comments that Joe had, and I kind of like the side driveway versus the parking in front. And you're talking about an 8-foot driveway in a 15-foot area, so there's enough room on each side to
There's
store.
room. Yep.
I have no problem with, I think the house needs to be moved up. That was one of my initial comments.
Well, it was there, but initially we were going to have a garage, and that really didn't work, didn't go with everything else. So that's why we didn't change the location of the building, but now that the garage is no longer there, then we can work with them.
Yeah.
So, and I have no problem doing that.
That's basically, I agree with it said by my fellow board members. But I'd like you to work it out with the neighborhood
Yeah, we will. We'll meet with them.
and with the DPD.
Yeah. Oh, Joe said.
That's it.
Thank you, Bob. So I only have just a couple of brief questions. So you're looking for a garage underneath, right?
What?
A garage under the house?
No more garage.
Oh, that's
No
gone,
more
okay.
garage. That's
Oh,
gone.
Okay.
That's gone.
So that was in the
where-
new plan, but not the
that's
one we had
where
before.
we can move it up.
I got you,
Yep.
okay, all right. Because that was the one I did decide.
Plus, there aren't any in the neighborhood, Tom. There aren't any garages.
Well, when I was up there, I noticed, like, on the front of, on the London Street house, a lot of some of these houses, like for example, they had a sign on their black wrought iron fence that says reserved parking space for residential dwelling only. And I know the people on the other side across from Blossom Street had the same thing. So it looks like there's some city enforcement on residential parking up there. Do you people have the same thing?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, they were on, across the street from this one. There was one in front of London Street. Do you people have them in your house too, so? Yeah, but I noticed some houses had them and some didn't. Okay, I was just, because, so some of it's restricted to residential parking? Okay. So I did notice it on some, so I'm thinking that does help free up some parking for the residents, hopefully, if it says that, or if you have a packet, one or the other, so. And I know on the lot on Blossom Street, it feels like there's a little bit of small curbing there now at one point, like it was almost like a set driveway.
Yeah.
So obviously that's gonna be
gotta come
going.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
it's going, yeah.
So I could tell you had a little bit of curb cut, and then you had a little narrow, looked like, almost like a little small driveway at one point.
I know, but as you look at those plans, there had to be a dwelling there for many years.
That's what it looks
On those
like.
land court plans, because they showed the house there.
Yeah, it looks like it was a little drive going to a house, because you have the,
Yep.
It went to the house, yeah. London Street didn't have any off-street parking. The driveway was in the lot where those granite curbs are, it was a gravel
But-
driveway, backside of.
so this went all the way through to London Street?
I'm sorry. Could you say that again? The driveway went all the way through from one front lot to the other?
Yeah. Yeah. So see that little curbing is there?
Oh, yeah.
But that would have stopped, but you can't come up.
Oh, I see.
It's a big drop.
Curbing?
Did you see the parking on London Street?
Yep,
It's got the walls on either side,
Right.
side.
yeah,
That's right. And it's
Yeah,
got the
it's got a drop, it's got a
Yeah.
drop.
for the big project.
right, yeah. Like, I noticed that looked like the driveway access.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, with regards to those parking permits, that's a function of the resident applying for those
Yep.
and having had some personal experience with it. A 1, 2, or 4 family is entitled to one parking permit. So if any of the residents chose to apply for those, they would be eligible.
Okay, all right, thank you, Dick, appreciate that. Okay, I have no further
I have one
questions. Go ahead, Mr. Lockhart.
question. Just regarding the landscaping, the original package, you had nothing relative to landscaping.
But I think in the back, we did,
Yeah, you have one here. If they had Department of Planning and Development a chance
we
to
will work with them, Mr.
look
Lockhart.
at that, all right, as long as that's covered. I think, whenever you can add some
Yeah.
nice amenities that way, that's,
They will. I mean, they're local. They maintain their property on London Street. They want to make
okay.
this look nice.
just wanted to make sure. That's all I have.
Any other board members have any questions, or?
I have a question about, in terms of administration. Sounds like the applicant is going back and considering some fairly major alterations to the plan. Things like the location of the house moving by, 15 or so feet, the location of the driveway moving from one place to another, or maybe not, to the extent that we don't really know what the plan we'd be voting on is. Jim, what do you want us to do tonight?
That doesn't affect the variances we're going to be seeking anyways, because it'll lessen them. If we move the house up, it'll lessen one of the variances, because we had a maximum setback. It was 21 feet, where it's 20. So we only got 4,500 square feet in land area per dwelling unit we can't meet. We can't meet the frontage because we only get 50 feet, but we will not need the other variance on that piece for the maximum setback. So the variances are going to stay the same.
My question is, can we act tonight?
But you're just acting on the special permit
Yeah, I mean,
for the 50-foot width.
I mean, what Mr.
Sorry,
Flynn is
you're
saying
right.
is basically, what we're acting on is the frontage on the special permit, which remains the same.
Yeah.
So what was advertised for this, the frontage, regardless of what they're looking for the variance is, the footage for the special permit and the front.
That's all the special permit is what you're acting on tonight. We can't meet it anyways. It's got to be 50.
No matter how you change the
Yeah,
plans,
can't.
what was advertised for the special permit for the frontage is what's before us.
But I think we can change the plan if we agree with the neighbors and come in with it to the Board of Appeals. That's what everybody wants, so.
Then obviously, whatever we vote tonight, our recommendation carries with the new plans when they go to ZBA.
Yep.
So I think, so therefore, I think we have the authority to act tonight because the request still seeks the same. Any changes they've had would only affect the ZBA, wouldn't affect us because the special permit's only for the frontage, the width.
For the
Frontage
width.
Width, not setback, right. Any other questions, or?
Do we issue this with or without conditions? I would want to issue, if we were going to act, I would want to issue this with some conditions about moving the drive, about moving the parking, about pulling the building up.
We're gonna meet with the neighbors, and we're gonna see what they want. And based on that, we'll act, and what we've done in the past, and I have no problem doing it. I mean, I think we did it on, what was the one on the hill? The final plan came back to you people after the Board of Appeals approved it for your consideration. So I have no problem with that. But I think that has nothing to do with what we're here for tonight. We're here for a special permit because of the lot width, which we can't meet anyways. So, and then we have to go to the Board of Appeals for the requested variances. And if they approve it based on the new plan, then we'll bring it back for your okay. How's that sound?
I like that, yeah.
That's what we did, was that
That's what we did,
Burnside?
it was off of Middlesex Street.
Burnside Street.
Burnside Street, yeah.
That's what we did on
High
Burnside
on the
Street.
hill to the
Yeah.
left.
Yeah.
We came back with the final plan.
That was after you worked with neighbors a little further, DPD staff then come back with the change.
Yep.
Right. Because we had some questions about how that house is going through from one street to the other street,
Right.
how steep it
Yeah.
was, people parking
And
next
the,
to
and the
it.
side.
Yeah, the elevation
people on the side,
change
yeah.
and all
And how
that.
the, it was the big slope and how that was gonna be maintained during the slope in the building and,
And the foundation, and how much was gonna be.
Yep, how much
Yeah, we-
exposure you were
we
gonna have.
Took care of all of that, yeah. Actually, but
I recall, yeah.
All right.
And we had one similar to it after that. I don't think that involved you, but, and it wasn't as much, yeah.
So the idea would be to issue it with a condition that the applicant will meet with the neighbors and work with the DPD on finalizing a parking plan, a plan for the parking and the location of the building.
Yeah, that'd be appropriate, I believe, yeah. You don't know.
well, it
about-
is a special permit,
Right.
you can condition it. So-
Yeah.
But we're gonna do it.
Right.
They're here, so we're gonna talk to them.
But I mean, yeah, it's a special permit. If you agreed to those conditions, I
Yeah.
don't think it's,
Not a problem, no.
it's in the
But,
interest
Mr.
of,
Boyle, if they want them in front, that's where they're gonna stay.
Yes, it's clear, that's
mean,
where
it's-
the condition's going.
I mean, that's,
and I understand their concerns. I mean,
Yeah.
it has, like you say, after last year, all that snow, people couldn't put it anywhere, no matter how much room we had. I mean, and it's a valid concern, you want to put it there, you want to put it there, and to sit there and digest it and ask you your opinion now, look at the plan. You're gonna go to the zoning board of appeals, if you go there, they could, speak with Attorney Flood, reach out, say, these are my concerns since I had a chance to speak it over. Are we better off to do this? Can you work with us? You wanna
That's
leave
what
your
we wanna
fence up,
do.
take your down? It's basically it's to make the project
Make a
work
better
and make people in the city happy with the project. So it comes out good for them and you as neighbors.
Yep.
That's our goal anyways, to try to make things work, so. It's the only lot that's vacant around there. It's, over time, we do see these vacant lots getting built upon because people don't leave them after a while. Sometimes they're nice to be vacant. If you have young kids, you'd rather have them playing there, look out your kitchen window and watch them, it's great, but after a while, those seem to, go away after a period of time, so. And I think the only thing we have from staff is they want the decision letter before you do any work for the
what?
registry. Staff indicated that they want the decision letter to be recorded in the registry of deeds before
Oh, yeah.
any work starts.
oh, yeah, we can't get a permit till we
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Building department wants to see a copy of it anyway, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. That's just was there anything particular about this project that,
No, it's just a standard
just a
comment. It's just a
standard-
reminder for
okay.
applicants
Okay.
to,
Yeah, they won't issue a permit.
yeah.
You record it. You know that.
Yeah, but to have it called out on the, in the staff report, I was wondering if there was something, for example, you could dig up that granite without a building permit.
Yeah, you
Granite
could
along
do
the
that.
driveway. I was wondering if there was something, some work prior to needing a building permit that they didn't want done. I guess, no?
no,
Okay.
nothing in particular.
Okay, just the normal condition.
Okay, so what's the request of the board?
Mr. Chairman, let's see if we can get this right here. I'd like to make a motion to approve, subject to the following conditions. The final landscaping plan to be submitted and approved by DPD. Applicant to work with the abutters and DPD to locate a final location of driveway and structure, subject to final approval by the planning board. And I think that takes care of our concerns. That would carry over to the ZBA, and then the ZBA would be working out the other
variances,
details.
Yeah, we can bring it back.
That would be my motion, Mr. Chairman.
So we have a motion made,
I'll second the motion.
motion second by Mr. Lockhart. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes yes. Any opposition? Hearing none, that motion carries.
Thank you
Good luck,
very
wish you
much.
well. So keep in touch with Attorney Flood, and they'll let you know with the
We'll
zoning
speak to him
board.
in the hall,
Okay,
because we know.
thank you.
know you got another hearing, so.
Okay, thank you very much.
After our success on Andrew Street, Mr. Chairman, I feel confident that Mr. Flood will do an excellent job selling low-profile parking, traditional neighborhood character, and properly addressing the street.
Mr. Owen.
Okay, moving along, the next matter we have is a pre-application for 45 Concord Street. The following individual has requested the planning board to provide a preliminary view of their proposed project at the address listed above. This is not a public hearing. The planning board will render no decision related to a site plan review or guarantee any future decision, whether positive or negative, on any project that receives the pre-application review. The applicant is Manuel Elizabeth Silva. The applicant proposes to construct a three-story, multi-use building that would feature 3 commercial storefronts and 4 apartment units. May we hear from the applicants, please?
Good evening, my name is Elizabeth, and this is my husband, Manuel. I had spoken to Joe, and he had said that we could come in for a preliminary hearing that you guys would look at and give us some insight if it's somewhat okay. I believe it goes with the rest of the neighborhood. Because there is a
Okay, so could you
business
just-
across the street. There's the abutters of this is also our own business that we've been there for 29 years. Across the street from the business is where we live. We've been living there since 1989. So we don't just own a piece of the property, we live in the neighborhood itself.
So what's at that site now? That would be,
Empty lot.
It's an empty lot.
oh, okay, okay.
Empty, yeah.
All right. So that's at 44 Concord, and your address is where? What, you live on what number?
We live at 70.
Concord?
On Concord, across the street.
Okay,
We own the business on 40 Perry Street.
okay.
Which
Silver's
is
Mini
a
Market.
Oh,
butter
the-
to
the
this.
market, okay.
Market's all ours. It's all
The
about
market
us.
basically is behind the car wash a little further down,
Yes, the car wash is on
corner of Perry.
Perry and Concord and
Yeah.
Andover Street.
Right, right. So,
We own from the car wash all the way to Pond Street, both
Okay.
sides of the street,
oh, okay, okay,
on Concord and Perry.
oh, okay.
And then our house is across the street on the other
Concord.
side of Concord
I got you.
and Pond.
Okay, I understand where you are now.
Is it the White House with the bay window and the garage?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
That's
so I
correct.
got it here, okay.
Yeah,
So that's them right across the street. Okay.
yeah, I just wanted
Are
to make
you
sure I
watching
knew
us at
exactly.
home?
Yeah. So the store that you have now in relation to this was behind it?
Behind, it's on Perry Street. I
Okay.
used to be on Concord. Used to be, where this lot is,
Right.
used to be a 3-decker where I started the business. I knocked that down already. Then I bought the ambulance where I am right now. Used to be Care Ambulance and Casey Paint Store. I bought all that.
Okay.
So that's why I became this lot big like this.
Because behind the car wash, there's a little auto body place there. It's
That's-
tucked into the left when you're pulling out the car wash.
On the basement.
Right,
And the garage is all facing on Concord Street.
right.
They got an easement to go to the basement.
Oh, okay. So that's tucked in it, yeah,
It's stuck in there,
really
right?
tucked in.
That used
If you
to-
call the car wash, you gotta be careful,
The
yeah.
car wash, it's in the side.
That used to be town taxi, I don't know if you remember.
I do now.
Town taxi used to be
Used to be
from
there.
there.
Yeah,
Now that you mention it,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought of it until you mentioned it.
Used to
Town
be there, yeah.
So what type of, you're gonna put in,
We like to put 3 storefronts
yeah,
and 4 apartments on top.
and what type of store business would that be?
Like a flower shop,
Okay,
like an attorney's office, a real estate,
all right.
something small, because they're not that big. They're good size, but not that big. They're only 862 square feet, two of them, and the other one is 1230 square feet, the middle one.
So usually one of our first questions would be, Concord or Perry would be, whether you have enough parking. I'm sure you, whether you
We
went
got
over the
some
chart with
parking
that or
there.
not. I don't know if you have or not, but
You need to be.
usually there'll be
The
one.
last sheet shows some parking
We got some
area.
parking.
Yeah, and I don't know what the numbers would be, but that's usually one question that we'd have on something in that area.
Yeah,
Because sometimes those streets can get a little tight during the winter, Want to make sure.
Parking would be dictated, just to follow up on that, Tom,
Yep.
by the type of business you have in there.
Right. Yeah, so it's a,
And there are guidelines that you should
Right.
follow relative to that.
because it's a mixed, would be mixed with the
That we can
residential.
help you with,
Yeah.
DPJ can help you.
Okay, yep. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
See that back here.
If you look at that last sheet.
Okay, yeah, I didn't have it-
You'll see that
okay.
existing building, 40 Perry.
Yep.
That's where we have this store right now.
Look at you.
40 Perry.
Yep.
Okay.
Where it says existing building to be removed, that building's already gone, right?
That building's gone, yes, correct. I knocked that down 2009, I believe. Late 2008, 2009, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Joe, does staff have any questions by looking at it ahead of time? I know we just got this in our packet a few days ago.
Right, certainly, Mr. Chairman, we just got it a few days ago. Some things we would be looking at are elevations on all sides of the building. And then in terms of, the parking layout, we'll need to have the traffic engineer take a look at it, make sure all the spaces will function properly. Dumpster location, no dumpster's been indicated on the site thus far, so how trash is serviced. And no snow storage has been indicated on the property. This was mentioned during last hearing. Snow storage is usually a key element to look at.
Yeah, I mean, like Pete said, you have to look for the parking, snow storage, dumpster location.
Yeah, we have a dumpster location for the other market, we'll use the same one.
Maybe
Because
just,
we have a
just a bigger one.
dumpster, a bigger one.
Okay.
We have one
Yeah,
for the
what we do
market.
is, we'd have our waste department look to see if that's big enough, They
Well,
usually,
we all
has to be
increase. It
bigger,
has to be bigger,
obviously.
cannot be the size where I have right now.
I mean, usually if you had that one on the other site, they'd let you know if that was big enough or if they wanted it on here. I don't know, that'd be a comment we'd get if it comes in on a site plan, Or whether they make it on the same site, I don't know. Depending on how accessible it would be, depending on how you set it up.
yeah, I mean, that would be my comment. Actually, I like the look of the building, at least this one elevation here. I have to say, is looking at the layout for the parking, and we'd have to get input from the traffic engineer, but, how functional is it, and whether or not it meets the criteria. I think that's gonna be a challenge as to what you're trying to fit on there. So, I think that's, when you incorporate, and I don't know, as the chairman said, the dumpster, really, I think we wanna see that on the site.
Okay.
And snow storage is another challenge. Of course, snow storage is a challenge on that street, no matter where
yeah,
you
we-
go up and down the street. But obviously for the site, that would be somewhat of a concern. So I think you definitely want to work with DPD on those elements of the plan.
Concord Street right now is a one-way anyways.
Yeah, I saw that, and I mean, you don't have any other choice, because when you really look down, I didn't realize where you are, because I think it's because of the large curb cuts across the street, there really wasn't anybody parking on the street, but as soon as you cross that, is it Pond Street? As soon as you cross Pond Street, it narrows, there's parking on both sides.
Yeah,
That's that
because
auto body
the auto
shop.
body, they have the,
They can
They
only
park all the
have
cars
so
on the
many
street.
cars
Right.
on
they
their
have all the
lot.
cars on the street.
Right,
In
And you
front
move
of our
auto
business-
body as you go down further.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in front of our business, nobody parks.
yeah.
It's always empty.
Because we don't allow it.
But just following back up with the dumpster, I mean, see, you'd have a separate business here, a separate business here, and if you were gonna sell one of those businesses, they'd want to have the dumpster on site.
Right.
You know, and the other question would be, if you have residential people here, what's the accessibility for them to go onto another site to bring their stuff over? So, the waste department might say they want it on site, because you could build this and then sell it all off, and then you don't have the dumpster.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So each, even though you want to put it somewhere else, that, they might say they want it on site. Now, they have allowed differently sometimes for parking. If you don't have enough on one site, you can get it off somebody else's property. That, you can use more than one site for parking, but I think with the dumpster, you might have to put it on site. I mean, Waste Department will let us know that, but I think the fact if you had, you could build this up, keep your other business, or sell one or the other, then one doesn't have the dumpster per se, because now you have a change in title, and the other person doesn't have it. You know, so I think planning staff people, when they look at it, and we send out all these to Waste Department, they might say they might want it on site, but, so that might be something you might want to think of. And then sometimes, all the dumpsters have to be screened, so whether that affects some of the parking and where the snow storage goes, that's something you have to double check on site. For the numbers wise, just looking at it quickly, how many cars will fit, you know, do they all fit in there, then they back out okay, and can you fit, the dumpster in there and the snow storage? That'd be one of the, first questions that we indicate looking at it, so. Joe, any questions? Bob?
I don't really have questions. I really like the design.
I mean, this looks,
Yeah, it looks
that's what you're thinking of right there?
Yeah,
That looks nice.
to fit in the
So,
neighborhood.
I mean, so it can look somewhat like, if you look at my home that you have, it'll look a lot like that, so
It'll be pretty close to the street?
Correct.
Could be close to the street, we're trying to keep it close to the street, to meet the garages in the front, the other ones. The only house in the neighborhood will be that one if it goes further back, so we're trying to keep in the front.
To stay with the neighborhood.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I think we'll look better instead of push it back, we'll look kind of
yeah.
right.
dampy.
Yeah, I think if you pull
How
that front,
did
it
you
looks
say
nice.
it earlier? A handsome, what was it?
A pretty girl, and
Pretty
she
girl.
smiles, and she kisses me too.
Boy.
Always important. One other,
Yeah, I mean, that,
I'd be prepared to prepare some kind of a landscaping plan.
Yes,
yeah, I mean, that staff can help you with that, and,
yeah, because I want to
Should
do
be
some
part of the
landscape like I
package.
did in the front of the store. I want to do some too, but
Yeah.
we didn't put it in, you didn't have enough time to put everything together.
Well, that's, I mean,
Some
that's why you're
bushes
here.
or
is to
some
hear
smaller
Because-
trees.
that, and also handicap parking. as
Yes, we
part
do,
of your
it is a
parking
handicap.
plan.
yeah, I
There
noticed
is
you have the one on
something
there. Yeah,
but,
yeah.
you know, just,
Because
that's important too, sure.
the store looks nice, it's always maintained nice,
Yeah,
the outside
it
looks
looks like a
nice,
building.
I really like what you do with the store.
That
It looks,
spot
it
really
does look
dressed
nice,
up.
I mean, I go by that place.
Yeah,
That
because
neighborhood
I
a
want to
lot.
finish that lot, now I can
So
go
dress up the
forward.
neighborhood a
Now I want
little.
to dress the rest of the, next to the stores need to be dressed up, and
Yeah.
I haven't done anything till I finish the lot.
Because the architect on the outside of the building you have now is nice, the way it all looks, and, it's pretty, it fits in, I mean, it looks nice in there, it really does, you know? And, you have easy access to it, getting in and out of there.
What is this zoned?
Empty,
TMU.
A
TMU.
Traditional mixed use, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what you're looking for, residential and some business. yeah.
So we like that, that you are doing a mixed-use project on the mixed use, in the mixed-use district, just what we're looking for.
The old building that was there used to be the store on the bottom and then
roomy house
a
on
rooming
top.
house on top.
We didn't want that.
Uh-huh.
They wanted to us to fix, that's why we knocked it down already, because the city was forcing us to
Do something.
renovate the building. I didn't want to do a rooming house. I know what it brings to the neighborhood, so I said, no. I live in a neighborhood, I work in a neighborhood. I don't want that in the neighborhood.
My only concern is, there's so much here. This is a lot of bulk, and I'm afraid that it's gonna really be tough to get parking you need and the open areas you need and everything else out of your lot. I'm rooting for you, but I think it's gonna be tough. Where you do own the abutting property, if there's ways for you to get creative in terms of, just off the top of my head, a driveway coming in from Perry Street instead of 2 off of Concord Street, and if that makes your site layout a little bit easier. I'm just spitballing here, but I would encourage you to think creatively in those terms.
We thought about that. It's because the elevation is
Again,
kind of tough.
yep.
And also, I was talking to the designer the other day, he came over to the store, I needed to talk to him, ask a few questions.
Yep.
And I was telling him, if we cannot do the parking the way you showed, what about if we do the basement? Do a basement underneath the business? And do the garage, the parking for the apartments underneath, do the garage underneath the building.
That would be very interesting.
Do an easement like the car, the body shop you were talking about next to the car wash, do an easement and drive into the basement.
That would be really
And I was
interesting.
telling the architect, and the architect said it could be done, because we're gonna do a basement. So instead of do a full basement, that they will do a basement garage for 8 parking spaces for the apartments.
At least 8.
We need 8 for the apartments at least.
And then, that.
Drive in from
And then
Perry,
it's
drive
case
in
the
from
Perry,
Perry.
the elevation change starts working to your advantage.
Yes, if we do an easement coming in from Perry into Concord, drive into Concord, but underneath the buildings, underneath the stores.
You remember those industrial condos on Western Avenue, where how they use the grade change? I really like it when I see a developer come in and they're working with the land instead of against it. So, that idea is intriguing.
Because I notice, sometimes I do home deliveries to elderlies. We went up on Gom Street, there's a couple of condos right before the 495 on the left side.
Yep,
Yeah.
we're familiar with
They
them.
did
Yep.
a garage underneath. Because she told us, go through the garage, and I said, there's no garage there. And she said, go through the back, I'll open the garage door. That's when I saw that. And I said, that's kind of some idea that I could do that over there. Because I noticed the elevation, the way they have it.
Yeah.
Can't hide your parking any better than that.
Yeah, I think, if you come forward on the site plan, if you sit down with staff and figure out what you need for parking spaces, if you still want to keep the building aside, whether they say, whether you want to make it smaller or go underneath to meet the parking, that would give you an opportunity to say, well, this is what's going to meet the parking, and then they'll give you your option whether, if they say it can work on this site with the parking that you have laid out now without going underneath, or you're going to have to go underneath, or make it a little smaller to make the dimensions work for all the parking, the snow removal and the dumpster. So I think it'd be a matter of just sitting down and checking out all the square footage before it goes to, comes back before us on site plan if that's the request. And that way you know what your numbers are better. Right, Joe, once I sit down and look it over, see what you're really gonna need for the numbers there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And whether the recommendation will be put underneath, or sometimes they say it's a little too big, make it a little smaller, but once you know your options, you can decide, then you look at your cost factor and what you want to do, and, give you a little idea which way you might want to go on that.
So were you thinking perhaps residential parking underneath and then surface parking for the retail?
For the retail up top.
Up top.
Because like this,
Off of Concord.
it'll be easier for the residential instead of the retails, because the retails don't know who's going in and out.
Right.
And the residential, you know who's in,
Yeah,
it's only the tenants.
that just makes sense, yeah.
I think,
That might work, yeah.
That would really be interesting.
because I got quite a bit on Perry Street, I still have quite a bit of land that I have room to put all the snow, because I usually take the snow from in front of my store and the street into my yard, so I can have, for all the customers to park in the wintertime. I have a guy that comes with the bobcat, removes all the snow to put in my yard.
I was gonna say, Bobcat would do it, it'd be tough with the pickup truck.
Yeah, we usually have as a bobcat come in.
Okay, well,
Especially if we have as much snow as we did this
yeah.
earlier
And then you
this
can do
year.
your house while they're at it, right?
Yeah,
Well, it's small, it's small enough at our
If he's,
house.
that's it, I mean,
We have plenty of place right
I
there in
mean,
our
even,
house.
even doing where the plow comes by like last
Yeah.
winter, when you're out there 3 times in 24 hours,
It's not much at the house, but yet at the business, you have to keep it cleared.
Sure,
because-
but if you have the little Bobcat there,
Otherwise,
they'll
you
pick up
have no
all that plow,
customers
heavy
coming in.
snow, yeah. Anybody else have any further comments? Yeah.
I'm intrigued by your garage under. I think that's a great suggestion. Just a comment, you own all of these adjacent
Yes.
lots, right? I would imagine if you were to use those lots for parking or access or whatever, in the event that you were to ever sell them, there would have to be some legal easement recorded, I would think, so that in the future, let's say you sell one of those lots, that easement for parking or for access would be there in perpetuity. But, I think, you've got some potentially creative solutions here that they could work. I'll tell you, when I first drove by it and looked at it, I said, gee, how are they gonna fit this in here? But it seems like you've given this a lot of thought, and I think it definitely could work with some of these solutions you're proposing.
Thank you.
Any other comments? If not, good luck, and hopefully we'll see you soon, whichever you decide, okay?
Thank you.
We wish you well.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Definitely.
There's that neighborhood there.
You here for something?
Just had a question for Joe.
Sure.
Okay. Got our calendar.
Okay, moving along, Joe, I see you have down, other business for the 2/16 meeting schedule. I know I didn't bring mine with me, but I know Judy mentioned that last meeting, we looked at it briefly. I don't know if anybody had any comments, have a chance to digest it, or if that's something we wanted to move along on. Does anybody have any questions?
Haven't any issue.
Yeah, just wanted to see if any board members had any conflicts they knew about ahead of time, at least particularly with the early part of the year. We could make some changes if the board wanted to accommodate that.
I don't see anything this time unless anybody else does, no?
No, I have no comment.
Okay, so, well, we don't have to vote on those for just informational purpose, right, Joe? Okay.
Right, yep.
All right. Anybody else, any board members have any further comments, or planning board members? I'll start with staff. Joe, anything that staff wants to bring us up to date on this point in time, or?
Sure, Mr. Chairman. We have a project coming in for the next meeting. It's for the Adam Building, redevelopment of that building. I just also wanted to make the board generally aware of Lowell Community Health Center, going to be going forward with Phase 2, so it's going to be a lot of development right there in Jackson Street all around the same time. They're going to be going in front of the Conservation Commission tentatively for December 9th, and that's in the 40R district, so they'll be getting approval through the Historic Board for that one. But the Adam Building will be coming to this board as well as the ZBA.
Which is the Adam Building?
So it's right in between Loft 27 and Counting House Lofts that was just done. So it's going to be by Wind Development. That's who's going to be doing that project. It'll be for 75 units with their market rate.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Anything else? That's it? Anything from staff members, or?
Yeah,
Rich?
I have some information I'd like to share with the board. The Historic Board, we have an important meeting tomorrow, actually, with the developer of the Thorndike Factory Outlet Building down by the Gallagher Terminal, the Lapoli Group. We're working with them on the design review process for development of that property, and I received these today, and I thought I'd share them with you. This is an important project for the city of Lowell. It's a highly visible area. There's great potential for housing, being next to the Gallagher Terminal. And we've been working hard on this, and there are some issues that I don't want to, wouldn't be appropriate to go into tonight, but I'd like to show you the renditions that we received, and I think you can appreciate the scope of the project and the impact that it would have on, you know, a major artery into the city of Lowell that is important. That's all. I'd just like to share with the board here.
Oh,
That's that walkway.
Dick, I'll show you these two, then I'll show you the other one in a minute, okay? That way I can have them going both ways.
I have others here, but they're just elevations
Okay.
of different parts of the building. There's new construction and redevelopment of,
Oh, yeah, so you get new construction, huh?
there is that building on the left and that other is all new.
Yeah, that could come before us. Will we be getting this?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll know more tomorrow.
They couldn't do that.
We'll be getting this then, right? You familiar with this?
Yeah, eventually.
That doesn't go up without us,
It
having
would
something
have
to say,
to
right?
at some point.
Yeah, we haven't had any
I
kind
mean,
of.
that's
would
new.
have
I mean, it looks bigger than 10,000 square feet.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Oh,
eventually
yeah.
that'll be
I mean,
coming along, but I haven't seen
These
any.
buildings here,
on
that
the
has to
le-
come
on the
before us.
left, on the
You can pass that out, I'm like, I'm looking at those, I go, that gotta come here.
That's already been funded.
Take another
That's,
look
you know, just a rendition.
Goes over where? That goes,
That goes right to the terminal,
oh, okay, okay.
from the corner of that building. Yeah.
That would be nice, yeah.
Very
Yeah.
nice, yeah.
It'll be absolutely great.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that, you're saying, how do they
Yeah,
get
these are
that
just other elevations.
without coming here? But, yeah.
A nice job, and I think, you know, working with them, we can have a really nice project.
Those are nice, you know, especially
Stay out of the weather and you go right to the.
Yeah,
The only thing, that
kind of
business
fun
that's there,
too.
the store that's there.
Can you want to pass those back? I'll
That
show
would
those
be
to
a
Dick.
loss.
And, let me show those other two to Dick. I don't think he saw those yet.
Oh, see, pass those back this way.
I would just be
Did you see both of these, Dick, or did we show you one? Oh, did you see the first one too? I think we gave you the one and then,
That's the existing. And, did you see that? Yeah, take a look at that. So everything to the left there is, well, there's some demo and we don't really get into that.
But, you know, that
they'll come
business
before us, yeah.
There's no
thing that's,
site
I think
plan
is useful and
that we'll look
appreciated
at
by the city's,
right now.
by the
It's
city's
really
work.
building design, materials,
Have you been-
windows, things like that that we're
I
gonna
wouldn't say
be
so, but I've been there a
discussing
couple of
tomorrow.
times. But it's useful, you know,
Oh,
buying
yeah.
the Dickies and everything.
Just a neat project.
What was that? Was what?
Yeah, that was on the back of, I think the smokestack that got blown away last year. Got hit by lightning and disappeared.
not all, but I meant through part two.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
On
that-
the factory outlet, the other part.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It can be a nice piece of property.
Or something, sorry, something's real dilapidated, that gets rehabbed or something.
Yeah.
One of the older sons actually had one of the mantles taken out.
Wow. Wow, thank you. Anything else, Rich, up in the historic board?
No, that's all. I just wanted to,
Any other board members have any follows up on anything from any other boards they're on? No?
I just mentioned to the chairman earlier that I saw them taking down 1,400 motors this week. So I guess they're gonna be coming in with a plan. I
Oh, no, we already
would
approved
assume.
that.
That one was already
That's the site
approved.
we already approved.
That site was already approved?
That's the one we approved.
Yeah.
It was the one further up they withdrew, that's right.
That's
Correct,
Further
yeah.
The one closer to the Chester line.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's
That
right.
was the one with the very innovative round driveways
Oh,
to
yeah,
get
yeah,
the
The curved sidewalks.
sidewalks.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah. Oh, it was, yeah, 'cause the one further up, that's the one that got withdrawn, that's right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I was asleep at that meeting.
Well, they had that one, then they had the one up, and then we approved that, then they wanted to put all their construction thing in, and then they wanted to put the housing in, then they wanted to put the stack, and then we had the question, when the law department came back, that kind of agreed with us, and then they kind of withdrew their application, if my memory serves me correctly on that part, right? And then, and the law department agreed with us instead of the applicant, one of the questions that I think you
Yeah,
raised,
I
Jerry.
raised that, yeah. Yeah.
Because they were gonna keep their equipment there while they did that site.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. That was right up past that little veterinarian area that's right next to 1,400. But yeah, the 1,400, remember?
Oh, yeah,
We had a
yeah,
question about the
that.
contamination on the site, and then they're gonna take care of all that.
Yeah, yeah.
Will that be part of the same development as the river?
No, it's separate.
No, it's
But
separate.
but it's gonna look
Separate.
to kind of mirror that, because it's
Right.
gonna,
It would be
you know,
compatible.
it's gonna butt it.
Yeah.
but It's separate, yeah.
Yeah.
it's Separate, yeah.
That's nice, boy, that's good. Such a long.
So at least they're moving along on that, then, good. Because I know when they came through, they said they might have, with being a car dealership, what's underneath there. They have to do a little cleanup, and they get, and then when they start getting bigger, deeper, they might need more cleanup, they weren't sure, which is,
You're gonna have to excavate a lot of earth off the site.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think that was one of their questions, they come in, they had a ballpark figure, but they don't know how much that could balloon on them.
Yeah, I believe that was a six-figure.
Yeah, yeah. Right, good.
Hey, Richard, on the, on that Thorndike Street site, have they talked land uses at all? Are they looking at all residential?
Well, yeah, mostly residential, but
Have they talked
some
about this?
different things in there. We discussed a couple of months ago now. I'll know more tomorrow.
Okay.
You know, there's a restaurant and
Hmm.
some other retail, commercial space, but primarily residential is what we heard originally, which, you know, I think is certainly appropriate for that spot.
Is that,
It'll be mixed
urban mixed
use
use?
and, you know, it'll go up 4 or 5 stories.
Traditional mixed use.
that's traditional mixed use there?
What is it?
It's TMU over there.
Ew.
It
TMU?
is TMU,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, I couldn't remember earlier.
Okay, any other follow-up? If not, we can entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Motion made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Say aye.
Hi.
Chair votes yes, we have adjourned. Good night. Thank you, everybody, and happy Thanksgiving, since we won't meet again till the beginning of December. So happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Good night, and thank you.